offshore wind, solar. Dominion Energy is a leader in the clean energy transition. We're dedicated to providing reliable, affordable, safe, and clean energy as we support and invest in our communities. Dominion Energy is building a clean energy future. Actions speak louder. Welcome to Actions Speak Louder, highlighting Dominion Energy's clean energy projects and community support. I'm Peggy Fox, Dominion Energy Media and Community Relations Manager. Today we're talking about outdoor classrooms. Sounds cool, but what are they? You might be surprised to learn that Dominion Energy has a great volunteer project where our teams actually build outdoor classrooms at schools in our service territory. Take a look at how a wooded area behind a school in Northern Virginia was transformed.
This is an amazing opportunity for our kids to come out into actual nature and learn about science and the world around them that we can't provide in a brick and mortar classroom.
And so they're extremely excited. We've had students looking out the window all day long, watching our crews work and build here, and they're very excited. I understand they have sign-up sheets already for who's going to get to use the classroom when.
Don't mess up, Peter. The funny thing about nature is it's kind of bountiful and provided everywhere. It's just you need to know where to look and where to take advantage of it and really think about what's going to be the best way for kids to engage in it. And so having spaces that resemble classrooms with tables and benches gives us the opportunity to then engage in real outdoor engaging lessons and instruction, and that's what learning is all about.
So these are learning tables, and so when children find objects here in the wooded area that they want to observe, they'll have a space to gather around with their teacher and take a look at the specimens that they found and look at them a little closer as a group. And then of course throughout around the trail there will be benches where folks can sit, where they can study, and teachers will be able to come around and help the students as they are observing and writing in their notebooks and things like that.
We got several trails that come around, that basically 3 of them, and goes back to one place where there's like a beaver has chewed a tree off, and there's a creek back that way and a creek back this way, and so they want to be able to just use the property and for science. You can hopefully in the spring of the year there'll be some tadpoles and frogs and things like that, and there's deer. We've seen deer running through here today, and so there's a lot of things for them to see.
I love the environment. I know you love the environment.
I really do love the environment, and the fact that it's an outdoor classroom. These kids can grow into this thing. It's not even just an elementary school thing. Like, this is something that they're going to be able to come and use and remember for the rest of their lives, that they had an outdoor classroom. We're actually just standing over there a minute ago, and there's a spider like this, and never in a million years would I ever touch that thing, but it was cool to see it, and I would not have seen something cool like that if I wasn't a part of this project today and getting to be a part of these kids' futures, because I really wish that there was stuff like this when I was a kid, but we made it happen.
It's just nice to help people out. So.
Yeah.
I think we are far more likely to put kids in this kind of environment and have them find a way that is applicable to real life professional learning and experience that they wouldn't have realized would be something they're interested in. So going and playing in the stream and looking for specimens and having a crawfish come across your finger for the first time might be something that triggers a whole lifelong learning that you couldn't have anticipated without that possibility. And that's where you just can't get that out of a textbook.
So the gentleman you just saw in that video is Steve Thorne, and he's here with me. He is the principal of Piney Branch Elementary. Steve, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us, Peggy.
And you brought 2 of your teachers. Why don't you go ahead and introduce your
Brought
teachers.
the wonderful Roxanne Edwards, who's a first grade teacher at Piney Branch, as well as Cherie Key, a second grade teacher.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
I tell you what, I've been out a couple times now to see the outdoor classroom, and it's so exciting. And we also want to introduce Marty O'Baker, who is on the Dominion Energy team, and he is our fearless leader when it comes to outdoor classrooms. He is his real job is electric distribution, system reliability, grid planning. Marty, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, we're going to talk to you more about how you came up with this project and how you help organize it. But first, I would like Cherie and Roxanne to talk about how the kids are enjoying the outdoor classroom and how you use it. Roxanne, you're like, which one first? How about you, Roxanne? I'll pick.
So definitely the kids are really enjoying it. The comments are things like, they can't believe they're really out in real nature. We use it for multiple purposes, just going out in a relaxing atmosphere, listening to the sounds of nature, making wonderings about what we're seeing and what we're hearing.
We've used it for our science fair, so our second grade level, and two of my other colleagues, we did a science experiment where we wanted to see what animals are actually back there. And so the kids came up with the question that we were wondering about, and they said, what animals are actually back there and what do they eat? And so we were able to come up with some foods by looking online. They did some research to see what foods we should put out there that were safe for the animals and wouldn't harm them. And so they actually went out there. We found where we should put it. They went out and found tracks. They were able to say, this is the location that we want them to see if they'll come to. And actually, after the first day, we put trail cameras out back there. And after the first day, we actually saw some action. We saw some deer, some white-tailed deer. We saw some raccoons out there, a couple of them, and they kept coming back over a couple of days. We actually got a daytime shot of a fox that decided to kind of hang out around there. So it became a really great experience for them to see not only what happens during the day, because the animals aren't really out there and active, but they got to see what was happening during the nighttime. So it was a wonderful experience for them.
And I'm sure you're not feeding those animals on a regular basis.
Of course not, no.
It
was an experiment. It was an experiment.
They have places where they can sit, there are actual tables and places along the path where the kids can travel to really take in the full experience.
That is so cool. How do you incorporate your lessons into the outdoor classroom?
We have a lot of science curriculum that easily folds into it, learning about weather, environment, plants, animals, but we try to not just use it for just learning science, because they can also go out there just to read and have the kids don't take enough time to just have a quiet moment where they're not in front of a screen, where they can actually take a book out and just read, or sometimes just walking the path. It's really just to get them outdoors and into the environment.
And I got to tell you, though, that is a really unique environment you have. Most schools don't have woods in the back, right, Stephen? I mean, how lucky are you?
We're really blessed that the way the school is constructed, we had some leftover land that was just designated as nature preserve. It's a natural wetland. It's not to be disturbed other than for putting a trail down. So, we can really take advantage of the resources that we are provided and utilize it to really expand our educational opportunity. And it was something we just kind of reimagined as what can meaningful outdoor learning really look like. And it was putting the kids into a space that, even though you'd think they get out to nature often just in their daily lives, they don't. And you can just see the excitement, the thrill of being in the middle of some woods and just waiting to see what will happen. And every time we go back there, we see something we didn't expect to see. I mean, the Dominion volunteers, when they were building it, were so excited themselves being back there. And a lot of them are naturally in nature a lot. And they found this one stump. They're like, that's evidence of a beaver. Look at that. You guys got beavers back here. So we're just waiting to try to catch one of them.
Let me bring Marty, since you mentioned Dominion Energy. Marty, you've been involved in how many outdoor classroom projects?
When I was looking, I could count 10 of them that I remember probably over the last 10 to 12 years.
How cool. Have you had a chance to see the one at Piney Branch? I'm not sure if you were involved. Were you heavily involved in that, or?
I didn't work the project the day they built it, but yes, I was involved in the planning of it and the material list and a lot of the behind the scenes things that make these projects happen.
When did we start doing these? Were you at the beginning of it?
Yes, I think it was 10 to 12 years ago. We started a grant program about education, tailored towards education. So we made the funds available to schools, to each counties, and they selected their principals, and we met with the principals, and we tailor each one basically to what the needs are of the school. So they're all a little bit different.
Exactly, and I know this one is very different because they do have the woods, and I believe they had some benches that we were able to repurpose. But we actually have, and I just learned this recently, a template, a wooden template Could you explain what that is and how we use it?
Yeah, it's a template to build the benches that we use. We don't use benches at all of them, but we use it at a lot of them, sort of set a classroom environment up. But the template came about many years ago. Myself and a fellow Dominion employee that's actually retired now, we were involved with Boy Scouts. And Boy Scouts, when you're working with them, they're not as skilled. So we had to figure out a way that we could build a nice product with some less skilled folks. So we got together, we built a couple benches, then we built the template, and we've kept it. He has since retired, and I've got the template, and we continue to use it on many projects. But it makes building a very nice bench easy for people with less skilled carpentry skills. So
because
it works out very well.
It's already measured. I mean, it's the exact measurement of what you need to put the 2x4s or whatever it is you have.
Yeah, it's all measured, cut, and you slide it in the template and the jig, and screw it together and put the bolts in it, and then you're ready to build a bench. Makes it very easy.
Genius, genius, Marty. I love it. We're going to talk more about how you guys do it and some of the different projects, but I want to get back to Steve. How do you decide which classrooms get to use it? Is there a waiting list? Who gets to use it?
Frankly, the opportunity to use it is one that we have just sort of opened up to everybody to say, go at it. And thankfully to the volunteer groups that have been involved, Dominion really kicked off the idea for this, the momentum for it, the engagement. I've worked with Gene Underwood for probably 2 to 3 years to get this project to fruition. And really, for me, it was a vision of something we could create to bring in the whole community, as well as extend our learning to the outdoors. And really, Dominion was the first domino. We've had 2 Scouts troops involved. We've had a Girl Scouts troop involved. We've had our PTO has helped just back this initiative with the funding for materials like the trail cameras, and just to make this really a learning opportunity that is something that will hopefully be sustained for a long time. And the reality is it's a big enough space that
created an extra space when they found out, Dominion Energy, when they found out that we had some extra space. They had one site in mind where we first come in, and then they said, hey, we can actually, do you want to put another set? And so now there's another set of benches and a couple of tables out there, or another class or classes. Actually, we've had 2 classes in one area. And then they've built a bridge so we can even go further. So it's
the enthusiasm of the Dominion volunteers is truly what made this something that even the teachers, we saw that it built the moment. I'm not saying it's momentum. It was unbelievable because the volunteers got there and they saw the opportunity. And we're like, we want to make this special for every kid that gets to come through here.
Well, Marty, I mean, I know a lot of our guys and women love to be outdoors. I mean, they work outdoors. And so this is really something that we embrace, and it's a wonderful way to give back, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great way for them to give back. You know, most of these folks live and work in these communities. And most of them have children, so it's a perfect way to do it. You know, we provide some funding for the material, and we provide the labor, and it's a great work day for everybody that's involved.
Yeah, it's really sort of a perfect project for our people who have the skills and the know-how, the measurements. We have some some really skilled carpenters on the team, but I think it's something they work with their hands. They're able to do it and give back. And I mean, we have obviously days when we're extremely busy restoring power, fixing things, and then other days, bluebird sunny days, when we might have some time on our hands and we can schedule these kind of things.
Yes, absolutely. We typically do 1 or 2 a year. We do a lot of them in the shoulder months of the year, the spring and the fall, because summer's, you know, typically really busy, but occasionally we will do one in the part of the summertime too.
Excellent. Well, Marty, your team is great, and I thank you so much for your leadership in working with the outdoor classrooms and teaching the younger folks coming in to Dominion how to do it, how to organize the project, because it takes a lot of organization to get everyone out there with the right tools, and because you guys work fast too. You say I say you guys because I'm the one taking pictures, not doing the sawing and all that. But I really have so much respect, Marty, for your group and all the line workers and our people that come out and can get it done in a matter of, I'm just trying to stay out of the way is what I'm trying to do and get pictures. But so tell me, let's get back to Piney Branch Elementary in Bristow and this unique woods. We haven't really mentioned you also have stream. You have a stream back there, which really gives a whole different perspective.
Yeah.
And part of that wetland is that it's wetland in the spring. It's more of a vernal estuary. And so we get the vernal estuary frogs that are native to Northern Virginia. Oh, wow. They get back there and get noisy. And so there's a lot of action in the spring. And that, now that it's settled and developed, I'm really excited to see what happens even in the fall as it goes.
Well, we were out there when they were first finishing up the program, and then I came out when you guys dedicated it, and I did have the opportunity to attend that dedication for the Piney Branch Outdoor Classroom, and I got to watch as kids experienced it for the first time. Take a look.
Birds, squirrels, maybe chipmunks, owls. This is actually quite special for this school. If we have like a project where we gotta like study microhabitats and like try to find the biggest one that we can find over here.
So what they're used for is a class can put in these QR codes.
Yeah.
Have a little like science project out here. So this appears to be 4th grade science projects. So you can just scan that and it will take you to a page that tells you about the project.
Like what species of trees all of these trees are, and like how old they are, like how heavy do they weigh, like how big the roots are, like a whole 9 yards about trees.
It is absolutely an amazing investment in our community and our school because this space is going to give our kids the opportunity to live and be part of nature and integrate their learning in a way that wouldn't be possible in a classroom. So thank you to Dominion Energy for doing this for our community. It is amazing support for Piney Branch, Prince William County Schools, and we can't say thank you enough.
So that little boy you just saw in that video was a Cub Scout named Ethan, who was obviously so excited. And I mean, are all the kids that excited, or is he an exception?
No, they really are that excited.
That is definitely the rule.
But he talked about, because I asked him, what are you going to learn? And he was just thinking about all the different things. He talked about the trees and the birds and finding worms. I mean, what kinds of things are you guys doing out there with the kids?
It's such an opportunity to learn literally about everything. It's as natural as this tree that had to be fell on to make it safe. And Asplund came down as part of working with Dominion, took down a couple trees that would have been dangerous had we let them up. We're going to be able to watch those stumps decompose over the next 10 to 15 years. And decomposers are a huge part of the curriculum in 2nd, 3rd grade, but it makes no sense to you when you learn it out of a book.
Wow.
We're putting this into actual hands-on, real observation practice. There it is in front of us. What happens when one of these storms comes through? What does it really do to the woods? What do the seasons look like? Look at how the mulch is made and turns into soil, and that. So we can put augers in the ground and see what that natural decomposition process looks like. And that's just one example of how you can tie in all of the Virginia standards of learning across science, let alone all the math skills that are just integrated in if you do any type of measurements and any type of scientific exploration. It just so naturally ties in. And then throw in the fact that you can go out there and do some creative writing time or just do reading where you can just take time to connect to nature and take in that still and that silence. It's just priceless.
Kind of use it as a literally another classroom.
Yes,
it literally is.
Absolutely the plan. Yeah.
And the way that Dominion helped us come together and make it spaces that were both collaborative but also quiet, and other spaces were designed to be more like observation and science, or spaces where the kids can sit in a round circle and have a discussion. It provides opportunities for the teachers to really carry how they would instruct in a classroom in engaging 21st century's ways out to the outdoors. We even have the iPads make an appearance at times when they're going to document their learning. And we have videos of kids that are just as excited as Ethan on an iPad saying, look at how realistic this is, it's amazing. Well, that's because it's real. That worm is really there.
The worm is really there.
They're able to see, we walk through life and you don't see the tiny pieces. And the kids are able to zoom in, and I go, I didn't even see that there. And they get beautiful images. So instead of turning the page of a book to say, that's what it would look like, they have real life experiences with it.
And they get a little muddy to boot.
Yeah. Wear your closed-toed shoes.
Well,
no fancy shoes.
Part of outdoor learning is understanding, if you're outside, what does it mean to be appropriate in nature? What does it mean to be dressed correctly, prepared for the weather?
You guys dressed appropriately. I did not with my sandals on.
It's okay.
I mean, one quote I've heard with outdoor learning is there's no such thing as inappropriate, or there's no inappropriateness in outdoors, it's just inappropriate clothing.
Right.
Right? There's no bad weather, it's just inappropriate clothing is the problem.
Right. It's raining, you know. And do you go outside when it rains sometimes? See what that's like? No. Sherry's like, no.
We've been outside.
We've learned, and the kids have learned what to expect. I've taken some out before when it was really wet out here. And so they've learned, once we say, hey, we're gonna go outside this week, they come in boots and they make sure they have their hats. And so they're ready to know that they can go out and it doesn't always have to be sunny and dry. There's other things that are gonna happen. So they come ready and we can go out if it's a suitable time for us to go learning.
When did you actually start using it last year?
Honestly,
the day
before it was
before
finished.
the dedication.
We were eager to get out before it was finished, just once the trail was kind of laid down, but there was no stopping them then.
Right,
there was no, we're going to wait until it's all finished. No. They wanted to go back out.
And Dominion Energy created these spaces with nature, and so when some of the trees that did fall down, if they were able for the kids to they became seats. We've had the trail that they created wasn't it was made from the wood, from the sticks and the branches, and so the kids, when you go out there and you say, hey, go find a seat, they're not just sitting on the benches, which are beautiful, but they are sitting on the stumps that they cut low for them to sit on. They're sitting on the rocks and the branches. And so it creates a wonderful environment for them to just be able to kind of sit on the ground, or they might not be able to do it at home or at school, on the regular day.
I'm a kid who was outside in my backyard growing up, and I actually like bugs and getting dirty and things like that, but a lot of people are afraid of bugs. Do you see children, like if they're exposed to the outdoors, that they're not as afraid of things?
It definitely helps with that. Initially, some are, like, I am a science geek. I love it.
Yeah.
Just don't want the bug crawling on me.
Right.
And even I have to go. Do not react like that, because they'll pick up that energy.
Yes.
But to watch some kids that are saying, ew, ew, it's a worm, and someone else
picks it up,
pick up a worm, and now this child is no longer nervous.
Can I touch
and
it?
They have such a deep care now that last year I had the worm, what were we calling them? They were
I'm
the
someone
worm
who saves
protectors.
spiders. I like take spiders outside. So
When it rained, they started learning that if there's too much water, that worms will like drown, and that's why they come out.
Wow.
So after that, then when the sun comes out, well, now they're drying out. So they were saving the worms, picking them up, and they wanted to take them to the outdoor learning spot. We were on the playground. They wanted to take them all the way back where they'd be safe.
And it does help them learn about respect and being in nature and being with each other and giving each other space and quiet time to be able to think, to be able to take it in. And so when you go out there, when they're working in their journals, it's quiet.
Gives them a visual of what sustainability and conservation are all about. Yes. Because that space for us has been, it has been preserved and will be for them and hopefully for future generations. And it's having that authentic opportunity to see what we mean by we need to practice conservation, we need to learn about sustainability and care about our environment. They get it because they understand the value in it.
Right.
Yes.
And you obviously have this beautiful space with the woods and taking full advantage of it, but there's lots of schools that might just have a little courtyard or something like that, but you can still enjoy nature if it's outdoors and the sun's shining.
The joy of seeing something grow from seed to growing fruit alone is something not all kids get to go through or see, and so giving them that opportunity to see it, to feel what a tomato plant feels like, and then smell their fingers and realize it has that smell, that's a crucial experience to informing how they're going to probably live their life in adulthood and beyond. And so, we want to give all kids that opportunity, let them believe what it is. And, schools that are lucky enough to have a space like ours, hopefully will find ways to invite other schools who don't to be able to experience it as well, because this is something that we're starting to see a network of opportunity about. I've worked at another school that's heavily into this type of outdoor learning, and it's certainly where I had the idea and motivation to come up with this, because there's a movement behind it.
So really, I mean, you were the one who came up with the idea.
Yeah, this was supposed to be a 5-year plan, and as Marty said, it ended up being a one-day project for Dominion.
Right.
It would have taken us 5 years to do this by ourselves. So that's where we looked at what we had, and it needed repair and it needed some TLC, and we said we kind of reimagined the opportunity of what can we do with this to make it more meaningful from an instructional standpoint. Because these days our kids learn when their hands are on it, they're elbow deep in the mud, and they're collaborating loud and moving together. And so, it needed to be a space that had the opportunity to sit on benches and discuss, but also be in the mud.
And those kind of things you never forget. They're going to remember these experiences for the rest of their life. It might even shape what they do with their lives.
Exactly.
That's how we got Green Team.
Yeah, you were mentioning schools have smaller spaces. We have raised garden beds that are away from the outdoor learning space. And the excitement, even in just that small area, we have like corn and cucumbers, and they're excited by that, and they haven't seen it all summer. So the space size isn't always what's most important. It's getting the kids outside.
And one of the opportunities that it draws conversation around what should science instruction in our school look like. Because we're starting Trout in the Classroom, which is another program that's a partnership where we literally raise trout from eggs to about that big, and we release them into
We'll have to
brooks
have
and
you on
rivers.
next time to talk about that, Stephen. Anyway, thank you guys so much. Stephen, Roxanne, and Cherie, thank you so much for coming on and talking about your outdoor classroom in Bristow at Piney Branch Elementary School. And thank you for watching. I want to thank Marty O'Baker, too, from Dominion Energy for joining us. And we hope that you join us next time to learn more about how Dominion Energy is working toward a sustainable future while supporting our customers and communities. You can find links to all of our Action Speak Louder programs on YouTube by searching Peggy Fox Action Speak Louder playlist, or follow me on LinkedIn or Facebook. And many thanks to the staff here at Fairfax Public Access, where this is being recorded. Take care and be safe.